Good evening, everyone. It's always nice to be here. And for this week's Gospel Moment, I bring to you a passage from the Gospel explained by the Spiritist Doctrine that is found on page 133 on chapter 10, and it is Matthew 5:23-24. And it reads, "Therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to your brother, then come and offer your gift." So what is this gift that Jesus talks about? Back then, during Jesus' era, the Jews, or the Hebrew people, they usually offered a lot of sacrifices to God in order to obtain forgiveness. They offered gifts to God. This was a purely ritualistic expression in order to obtain this forgiveness. And they would use an animal that would be a representation of what they thought was purity. And here Jesus says, if you're offering your gift at the altar, is in essence just to grab the attention of the Jews of the time in order to impact them, to teach them. But this is purely from a materialistic aspect. Because how can these Jewish people, these Hebrew people from back then, think that they're going to be able to obtain forgiveness from the Father when within themselves they still harbored feelings of resentment because of offenses committed to others and offenses that others committed to them? So if we take this explanation and shift it from the materialistic sense and from the understanding of that era to today and to the Christian perspective, but not the Christian perspective from a religious sense, but the Christian perspective from Christ's view, from Christ's teaching, we understand that the gift that we have to offer God is a soul. But how can we offer God a purified soul, or rather, how can we offer God a soul if it is still tainted by resentments, by misunderstandings, disagreements with your fellow brothers and sisters? What we need to do is to cleanse ourselves. Before we actually offer the gift to the Father on the altar, Jesus said, reconcile with your brother. So what we need to do first is to resolve these issues that are pending with our brothers and sisters so that we can completely cleanse ourselves and purify ourselves, so then we can truly offer our gift, our soul, back to the Father, because that is the gift that He gave to us. He gave us the gift of life, and the soul is His gift to us. And it is interesting because we can look at it in this metaphor. If we were to build a balloon, and this balloon is beautiful. The balloon is a representation of your sacrifice, your labor. The balloon is your outward expression to the Father saying, here, this is what I offer to you. It is a beautiful balloon, very intricate in details, colorful, bold, large, everything you can imagine the most beautiful balloon to be. And then you hop into this balloon and you fuel the flames and you ignite the flames of this balloon so that it can rise. And this flame that you ignited is to show God, look at how bright I am, look at how much I've done, how pure I am. This is my offering to you. But for some reason, that balloon isn't going anywhere. It's not lifting off the ground. Why? Because that flame is an outward expression of this gift. It's empty air. It doesn't fill the balloon up. And then we realize that we have to humble ourselves, that we need to look around and see what is wrong with this. Why is this balloon of existence, of my existence, not lifting itself up? So I look around the balloon and I see that what is weighing down the balloon are the sandbags of resentment. These bags filled with these disagreements, these offenses from our sisters, from our brothers. And what we need to do then is to cautiously, attentively, lovingly, carefully, compassionately, patiently, just sever these bags by working out all of these pending problems with our brothers and sisters. Focusing on that first. Because now, your balloon is no longer weighed down by these misunderstandings. Because you've resolved your issues. Your sisters and your brothers no longer look to you and feel as if they were offended by you. Because you're able to cleanse yourself through this work, this effort, this true sacrifice, which is what Christ meant here. So now, you try to raise this balloon and you begin to lift off, and you don't even have to ignite this engine or this fuel any longer, because the fire that burns within you is that true light of the Father, because you've finally connected, and that fire within you is filling this balloon up with real air, rich, wealthy air. air filled with love and charity. And now your balloon starts to lift off, and you can finally go up towards that bright light in the sky, towards the heavens. And this is what Jesus meant by this short passage. And it is interesting to observe in studying Jesus' teachings that we have man-made laws on one side, and we have the eternal laws on the other side, God's laws. If we look at the United States, for example, the Federal Registry of the United States, which is the book that contains all of the laws of this country, has 75,000 pages. 75,000 pages of laws and regulations. The tax code has 72,000 pages. We're, in essence, drowning in laws. But what have these laws done to moralize society, to legislate morality, to legislate fraternity, solidarity, and love? It has done nothing. And why is that? Because these laws are the material laws. These are the laws made by men, written by the pen held by the hand of a fallible man. These laws perish with time. But then on the other side, we have the law that is eternal, the law of the Father, the law of the Creator. The law that Jesus brought to us, that he taught us. And if we observe these laws and forget about these laws, then we can cleanse ourselves and our souls, because we're going to be behaving like Jesus taught us, in the way that we are supposed to behave as true Christians. Again, not in the religious sense, but in the sense of disciples of the governor of this planet, the Christ. And then, and only then, can we truly say that perhaps we can be the answer to question 625 of the Spirit's book. Because that is our goal in life. That is the goal of each one of us here, to be that answer. And in case you don't remember or don't know, the question reads, what is the perfect standard that God has offered to humankind as a guide and model? And the answer is, look at Jesus. So in observing these laws that Jesus taught us, in cleansing ourselves and in connecting ourselves and in reconciling our relationships with our brothers and sisters, then perhaps we can look at this answer and append to that answer a comma and our names, because that is our true goal in life. Thank you very much.